and welcome to the Close Up Podcast. My name is Luke, and this is the first episode of 2018. Welcome. I think the levels are a little bit too loud still, so let's be a real professional and turn them down while I record. Welcome to the Kill Set Podcast 2018. We made it. We actually made it. I know we took a bit of a break there towards the end of last year. In all truth and honesty, I started a new job and it consumed a lot of my time. But now I'm back. I'm in the groove. I'm ready to talk to more awesome people about awesome music and let's get this show on the road. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who's listened last year, and I hope you're still listening this year. Thank you to everyone last year who came on and spoke to me when no one even knew what the fuck I was doing, including me, especially me. So thank you to everyone who spoke to me, everyone who was interested in coming on the podcast, and hopefully we get to do it all again this year. So this is going to be the Unify recap. I went to Unify on a whim, which is a bit of a shock because most people would have presumed I would have gone down for sure. Oh, now I've turned the mix is down a little bit too low. Let's see if I can get it back up to a decent level. Oh, that's too much. Alright, so I went on to Unify on a whim. I wasn't planning on going originally, not because of any reason particularly. I think it was just more of a preoccupation. Like I said, I just started a new job and I worked between Christmas and New Year, and I didn't pay much attention to Unify. I knew my brother and some friends were going down, and that's actually how I ended up going down, because my brother pulled out of going to Unify to spend time with his lovely girlfriend, each to their own. I decided to go and sleep on the floor for a couple of days rather than spend time with my girlfriend, which is no reflection on her. It's my reflection on, well, maybe I'm just a terrible boyfriend. I'm realizing it now as I say it. I'm a terrible boyfriend. Kate, I'm sorry for being such a terrible boyfriend and going to Unify instead of coming and spending time with you. Alright, now that we've got potentially ruined my relationship, we'll move on. So I had a really good time at Unify. It was a last minute decision which brought all the usual implications of having a last minute decision. We tried to change names last minute. I was emailing. Shout out to everyone who ran Unify and at 2400 for answering emails at ridiculous hours, especially mine. I was trying to change the name, and I was so worried about driving the 10 hours down to Lower Tarwin to go to Unify and not getting let in because my name was not on the ticket, that I actually bought my brother's passport and his birth certificate. For anyone who doesn't know, I have a twin brother who was going to go down, so we look exactly the same, and I probably could have just gotten away with it. But then the lovely people at Unify got back to me and said, "Don't we worry. You don't need to worry. You're not going to have to change the name on the ticket. You can get in anyway as long as you have your ID." So all was well. But I still decided to take the ticket and the passport. I worked the day before. Woke up at 3:30 Thursday morning. My friends rocked up, picked me up. We all crammed inside my friend Sam's little Toyota Corolla, which was an excellent car to take down. Despite the fact it only had a 40-litre petrol tank, and we had to stop about 4 times on the way down. But it was good. Part of the adventure is the journey, isn't it? As long as it's saying, part of the holiday, the most fun part of the holiday is getting there, and the worst part is driving home. So we drove down. It was an awesome drive. It was an awesome drive. We got down to Melbourne. We stayed inside Melbourne. So my friends Sam and Bronson, who were the awesome friends that I went down with, they had never been to Melbourne before. So they got to experience hook turns and Melbourne's traffic that heads in the same direction, but the 2 lanes are separated by a median strip for whatever reason. Melbourne, I don't know why you do this, but good job. And we got to see Melbourne Central Shopping Centre, which is pretty much all we had time to see. That and the AM PM pre-Unify night, which I don't know where it was, but it was a fucking awesome venue. It has the best aircon I've ever had in a nightclub. Best aircon. It was amazing. Like, I was standing there, I'm like, I'm fucking, we're in Sydney, you go out in Sydney, and you rock up in footy shorts and a singlet, and fucking you end up sweating your whole, setting your fucking ass off the whole night. We got to Melbourne, wearing shorts and a t-shirt, nice t-shirt. Still didn't want to get kicked out. And I was cold in the aircon. And I thought, this is surprising. There's people moshing 5 meters away from me, and I'm not overheating. So shout out to Melbourne on their aircon. Fuck yeah, awesome job. So yeah, pre-Unify night was great. The one thing about Unify, which was really awesome, and I probably didn't expect as much, was I didn't have anything against the bands that were playing. I'd seen a few of them before. A few of them were my favorites. Big favorite bands of mine. But I was mostly excited to see people that I hadn't seen in 6 months, because I hadn't been to gigs, a few local gigs, or I just hadn't caught up with them. And that was the best thing. You went to the pre-Unify night, and I caught up with a bunch of people. Tim, who's been on the podcast, Adam and Matt, who'd been on the podcast, people from Sydney, from the Sydney scene, a whole bunch of people. And it was awesome. I made a bunch of new friends. There was like every second person I ran to was like, where are you from? I'll see you in the pit tomorrow. Like, it was, I think, a real community feel even from the get-go. And I think they named Unify really appropriately, because it's not a festival. I think the idea of a festival is, fucking complete and other strangers coming together to join together in music. But Unify is a gathering, and that's really what it is. Like from the get-go, everyone, there was a sense of like everyone not knew each other, but everyone had, I don't know, there was a connection there that you don't normally get at festivals. At festivals, the connection you get is like, yeah, man, I drove 4 hours to get here, I'm gonna get fucking shit-faced, fuck yeah. But, you didn't really get that with Unify. Well, you did, everyone did get shit-faced, but I think everyone who is involved in the scene kind of has not a similar story, but has a connection to the bands, most of all, but a connection to each other. Everyone who's kind of into that type of music has had some sort of rough period in their life, or they really tie together. I'm not sure what I'm really trying to say here. I think what I'm saying is that I felt more connected to the people at Unify than a lot of other places you go to. And that's big shout out to, I've done a lot of shout outs this little podcast, and maybe it's the 2018, the year of the shout outs. It's strange to feel connected to so many people and not know so many of them as well. But, I digress. So it was awesome. Got to meet up with a bunch of people. Got, had a few drinks, walked around Melbourne, walked the wrong direction in Melbourne, and then had to turn around and go back to the other direction to get to the club. So the next morning we woke up, slightly hungover, running slightly late, but that was the other feel of the whole weekend. There was no rush. Unify was going to be there. We may not get the greatest tent spot in the world, but we're going to get a tent spot. And there was no feeling of, which is really strange for me, there was no feeling of anxiety or stress. I was completely relaxed the whole time. I didn't, overindulge in freaking out. So, anyway, so it was an extra 2-hour drive to Lower Darwin from Melbourne, which was awesome. I think where they hold Unify is an awesome place to hold Unify. It's in a part of the country that I would have never gone to, because there would have been no reason. But in saying that, like the drive down there through the hills and through Kui and all the rest, I don't know particularly where we went through, but it was all really beautiful farmland. And then you get towards where Lower Darwin is, and then you don't realise that it's so close to the coast as well. You got the Darwin, I think it's the Darwin River. So yeah, it was an awesome experience driving down there. And it was an awesome experience lining up to get into Unify. You don't hear that, people saying that a lot about, lining up to get into festivals. But, once we realised we were close, I cracked a beer in the back seat and, had a few drinks in the line. It probably took us 20 minutes to get, into Unify and find our car parking spot. But, right from the get-go, everyone was excited to be there. We had guys jogging along the cars, singing songs and, having a real good time, not even before they got into, Unify. So, we got into Unify, and as soon as we got into Unify, it started fucking pissing down rain. Like, I'm not saying like it's sprinkled. I'm not saying it rained cats and dogs. Like, it was a fucking torrential storm. Like, it was like fucking tropical fucking weather in the middle of Lower Darwin, where it's supposed to be fucking cold as fuck or hot. You know, like, there's not supposed to be no tropical weather down here. And fucking, for some reason, on the day of Unify, it decided this heavens opened up and fucking God cried tears like a, you know, prepubescent emo kid upset about not getting the newest iPhone. You know, it's, for some reason, it just pissed down rain and everything got soaked. Like, everything I owned got pretty soaked. You know, I was lucky. I had waterproof bags, so called, and yeah, they didn't even hold up. So, but I was smart. I got a lot of compliments on 2 items of dress, I guess you would say. I bought gumboots before I got there because I expected the rain. You know, there was a few warnings beforehand. So I got a lot of compliments on me gummies. Cheers, everyone. I'm feeling the love on the gumboots. Who doesn't love a good pair of gumboots? And my sombrero, which I bought at Summer Nuts the weekend before. So that was fucking awesome. I actually had someone offer me $10 to buy it off me, and I said, mate, it cost me bloody $15 to buy it, man. I'm not going to sell it at a loss. And then he offered me 15, and I said, mate, it's triple or nothing. And then at that point, I think he got a little upset that he wasn't going to get my sombrero. But I was pretty happy I wasn't losing my sombrero. Anyway, enough about my fucking sombrero and my gumboots. Anyway, yeah, the heavens opened up, and we had a bit of issues trying to get the esky into Unify. Not because we were trying to bring glass in. It's that our trolley that we had it fucking wheeling on broke, and I ran ahead because I was an excited school child, and found some other friends and was trying to find out where my Bronson and Sam were, and I didn't realise that I had completely dogged them and left them behind, stranded with an esky, and yeah, I had to go back and find them, and then we went and moseyed on and found our own little spot and set up camp, or set up our little home for the next couple of days. In saying this, sometimes you hear bad stories about, you know, rainy weather with festivals where you camp, or even just bad experiences where you camp at festivals, you know, people being too noisy or, you know, drunk, or, you know, anything, you know, people like to complain. But the one thing about Unify, it was, even though the weather was shit, I had so much fun hanging out with complete strangers, listening to music, drinking, you know, talking. That would honestly be my favourite part of Unify. As dumb as it sounds, you know, it wasn't the music, it was the people. You know, it was getting to meet some new people, you know, catch up with a lot of old friends that I hadn't seen. So yeah, I think it was fucking awesome. So I actually really can't remember what I did the first day of Unify because I started drinking pretty heavily pretty early on. I know that I didn't see Knocked Loose, which was a bit upsetting, but that was because it was pissing down rain, and I didn't really want to get wet and sick on the first day of Unify and miss out, you know, the rest of it. And I have previously seen Knocked Loose, and they were fucking awesome. So I regretted doing that. Who else didn't I see? There was a whole bunch of bands that I didn't see and I probably should have. But I was too engaged in catching up with people, you know, spending time hanging out. So, you know, that was a downside, but also an upside. You know, I wasn't, you know, I got to stand back and enjoy the experience as a whole rather than being like, oh, this person's set wasn't as good as this person's set. You know, I just said, well, whatever bands I saw, I genuinely enjoyed. And if I didn't see them, I'm sure they had a great set, and I was off having fun, talking to people and drinking and having fun. So, yeah. The few bands I did see, one of them was Cursed Earth. You know, that was the second day. The second day, the weather cleared up quite a bit, so it made it a lot easier to go and hang out and see bands. So I saw Drag opened up. That was really cool seeing Drag. They're new metal. They're not new metal, but they're very they're in their own category. Like I don't find them similar to anybody else. You know, they do all the face paint and not the dress up, but the face paint and the costumes and the masks and bits and pieces, and they have this different presence about them on stage, something that's a little bit more old school. You know, it hints on kind of like System of a Down for me. I don't know why. You know, their music isn't that similar, but their stage presence, I think, is, you know, what's really there. So it was awesome seeing them. And then who else is he? Cursed Earth. And so, Cursed Earth, I think, is like the kind of focal point of Unify Soul. I went there to see Cursed Earth. Like, I was excited to see Cursed Earth. I saw a band, and I there was a band that played beforehand, and I can't remember who they were. I probably should look up what the list was, what the set list was, what the playlist was. But that would be unprofessional to look up at your phone while you're doing a podcast. Not that it actually matters. Yeah, so I saw a band beforehand, and they were really good. They were female lead, and that was awesome to see. You know, I think Unified did a good job of including bands that had, you know, female members and female lead vocalists and stuff like that, which is something that's really impressive to see in the scene. You know, especially, you know, a music genre that has been very male orientated for a long time. It's good to see that it's changing, and then there's been, I personally never heard anyone say, I don't want to go see that band because it's a female lead. You know, I don't think I've ever heard anyone bag a band out for having a female lead. It's always been supportive. I think that's what's so awesome about the scene, is that people are so supportive of others. You know, of course you get the schoolyard stuff that goes on, but, you know, you get any group of people together, there's going to be people that disagree on certain issues. So, but yeah, anyway, so I was super keen to see Cursed Earth, and when they came out, I didn't see Jasmine, their lead vocalist. I was like, myself and my friend Dave turned to each other and were like, where is she? Like, this is very strange to see Cursed Earth without their, you know, without their front woman. And we all sort of turned to each other and said, oh, well, I hope it's nothing serious. You know, maybe it's a last minute pull out. Maybe she's sick. Maybe it's, you know, who knows what it is. And even in the pit, there was whispers of that, you know, it potentially could be allegations of domestic violence or assault, or, you know, I don't want to get into that, into the speculations, but it was straight away there. It was people already talking about it. About their performance, props to I hate to be that person who doesn't know his name. Props to the guy who stepped up and performed with Cursed Earth, and did the vocals. Without him, you know, the show wouldn't have gone on. In saying that, though, there's something in the way that Jasmine does her vocals. There's an energy that she brings that you can't replace. And it's a pity that these allegations have been, you know, these allegations are there. You know, it's more of a pity if they're true, you know, because her career was really lifting, and to have something like this, you know, happen in her personal life, and for it to affect her professional life as a vocalist, you know, is something that's really disappointing, not only for her but also for the scene as well, I guess you could say, because, you know, that's something where people are really trying to stamp out in, you know, especially, you know, in the modern world. You know, it's something that's not acceptable and, you know, really shouldn't be accepted. Well, you know, definitely isn't. It's disappointing. You know, it definitely is disappointing to have this still continue on and to have this in the scene. And I definitely hope that whatever has occurred, that justice does, you know, prevail in the end, and that both the alleged perpetrator and the alleged victim are able to continue on with their lives afterwards, you know, after this point. Yeah, it's disappointing, and let's all hope that the best outcome occurs. Anyway, so that was sad, so we'll move on a little bit. I don't really want to dwell too much on that. So yeah, it was awesome to see Cursed Earth. Disappointing not to see them with Jasmine. But yeah, we'll move on. So yeah, after Cursed Earth, I think I went back. Who did I see? Oh, that's right. I left because I think someone was going to play 2 bands afterwards I really wanted to see. And the problem was I went back to my tent, and because I was so exhausted from the drive down and not sleeping from going out the night before and not sleeping the night before because I was sleeping in a tent and it was cold and rainy, I fell asleep for a few hours and I woke up and I realized I had missed more music. That's the hardest thing about Unify. It would be awesome if they could put it over, if they could put it over 3 days. Or not, yeah. Is it 3 days? No, over 3 nights. Yeah, 3 nights. So that, have the first night just a general, like a opening night, have a lot of local bands, get some people some exposure, but it's also more of a socializing thing. It gives people a chance to sleep, get settled, sleep, get up early and then start the day fresh, and you spend the whole day listening to music, and then the next day listen the whole day to music. I felt like the whole time I was trying to catch up on sleep, which it sucks. But anyway, so I woke up, continued drinking as you would, and the other person I can remember seeing would be Hellions, which was later on that night. And I didn't even stick around for Amity. I could hear Amity from the campgrounds, which was awesome. But I feel like no, I don't feel like I didn't stay around to watch him. I'm a person who doesn't particularly enjoy super large crowds of people watching music. I do get kind of claustrophobic, and I do like my space. But I also do enjoy watching smaller bands. It's very impressive for massive crowds of people to be singing the same song. Like, it's awesome. But there's something about the smaller bands who are striving and put like everything they've got into trying to reach that level. Like you really see them put everything they can into it. Not saying that the larger bands don't do that, but it's awesome to see people coming up and be able to follow them a little bit, and follow the progression of their careers. Top parts of Unify. I think I'll do a little bit of a my favorite parts. My favorite parts were when I got everyone to sing, or not everyone, got a handful of people to sing "Welcome to the Black Parade" while we were waiting to get into the arena for Hellions. That was awesome. Another part was me, myself, Bronson, Sam, and a group of friends hanging around and just singing random songs that popped into our head, whether they were 90s pop classics or early 2000s rap or anything like that. It was awesome just to spend time with people and just relax and have fun, have genuine fun. So thank you, Unify. I've still lost my voice. It's only just getting back to normal now, as you may tell. Yeah. Plus the camping experiences, plus the bands that they had on were fucking. It was an awesome lineup, even though I slept through parts of it because I was exhausted, not because of the lack of talent, because I was a bad human being and I wasn't too tired to stay up. Congratulations to the Unified staff, the volunteers, security, on doing an awesome job. With 7,500 people in a camping together, shit can turn bad very quickly, especially if it's not organized well. But they had it really well organized. Toilets were cleaned constantly. Food was always there. I never heard anyone say a bad thing about how Unify was run. Even the lining up, people, like, I was still having fun, turning around, talking to people in the lines. I think there was a general sense of, calmness about the whole situation. No one was really in a rush to be anywhere. And there was always, always someone to talk to, which was also, which is awesome. Yeah. So anyway, I woke up super early on the Sunday. It was the last day before we left, and super early. I mean, like I think 5:30, 6 o'clock. I didn't sleep that well that night. I went to bed, pretty late, and I kept being nervous about having to try and beat the crowds to get out of Unify, because it was my first Unify, and I wasn't sure how exiting worked. So woke up, packed my bags, cleaned some stuff up inside the tent while Bronson and Sam slept, and I hopped out of the tent and looked around, and just it was like a breathtaking scene almost. There was there was not many other people up. It was myself and not many other people. So it was not eerily quiet. It was calmingly quiet. To imagine that a few hours beforehand it was pumping loud music, and people were singing along to their favorite songs that they were seeing their favorite bands perform. That people were laughing and having a great time, and the morning after it's dead silent. It wasn't dead silent, but it was completely calm again. There was a few upturned tents, a few abandoned tents, which was a bit disappointing. But all in all, it was awesome to sort of stand there and just take a step back and look at how many people had travelled from all corners of Australia to come and experience this weekend together. I saw the sun rising up over the tents, which was awesome. And my only regret was not taking a few more, taking photos of it, because it was something that I'll always remember. And it was awesome, just going for a walk and looking around and taking it all in. I think with camping festivals, it's very easy to get tunnel vision and be like, all right, we've got to get the tent set up, and we've got to get the esky set up, and we've got to do this, and we've got to do that. It was awesome just to take a step back and look at the big picture. And yeah. So anyway, I packed up most, all my stuff and got ready. So when Bronson and Sam woke up as well, we all packed up and we said goodbye to our new friends that we were camped next to, and they had graciously shared their, little gazebo with us when it was pissing down rain and we didn't feel like sitting in our tents and drinking. And we packed all our stuff up, made a few trips to the car, and then we were on our way back home. And it was a 12-hour drive home. We left at 9:30 in the morning roughly, and we didn't get home till 9:30 on Sunday night. And as soon as I got home, I pretty much collapsed into bed because I had to go to work at 6 o'clock the next morning. But it was an experience that I'll never forget, and I am very grateful that I, added a bit of spontaneity to my life and decided to go on a whim and a last-second decision, and it turned out to be, I think definitely a highlight of, 2018. It was an awesome way to start it off, and all in all, an amazing weekend spent with amazing people, and thank you guys so much for tuning in to my first little episode. I know it's not, has been that long, and it probably hasn't been that entertaining, but thank you so much. Keep supporting your local scene. Keep supporting your scene. There's a whole bunch of fucking awesome gigs coming out. Tours. Parkway Drive's playing this week. I can't get tickets to go and see them, which is really disappointing. Keep an eye out for Alpha Wolf doing their mono tour. They're being supported by Honest Crooks. Get out them and support them. Honest Crooks and Alpha Wolf, fucking great bands. Who's Life's Ill is supporting. Life's Ill and Underminer are supporting someone as well, but I can't remember. God damn it. Anyway, check out Life's Ill Facebook page. Check out Underminer's Facebook page. Double Chamber, the guys I did my first ever podcast with, are playing again for the first time in a couple of months. So get out there and support them this weekend, this Saturday. Keep an eye on their Facebook page. Go out and see them. Awesome dudes. I think there's new stuff coming up for Drowning Atlantis, so keep an eye out for them. Who else? yeah, just keep an eye on everyone I've done a podcast with. I definitely check out our old podcast. Check them out on YouTube, Killset Podcast YouTube. Check us out on the Killset Podcast at Facebook. And yeah, hopefully you'll get to speak to you a bit more this year. Hopefully bring a few more interviews together. And yeah, it'd be fucking awesome. So to summarize, thank you Unify, thank you Melbourne, thank you everyone for being awesome. My name is Luke. I hope you guys had a good time listening to me. Thank you very much, and hopefully I get to talk to you very soon. Support your local scene.